Hello everyone. Today I'd like to show you some tips and techniques that I use. This is Shannon, and as some of you may know, that a lot of in my instructions on painting in my packets, I use different terms like base tinting and soft floats. Those are a couple of them. And today I would like to show you how I float color and maybe give you some tips, and this would help you. I'm going to use some greens. I'm using Hauser Green Light, and I'll use some green medium, and I'll also use the Hauser Green Dark. But right now I would like to show you on floating color. One thing is important is to make sure that you have clean water. And I take my brush and wet it, and I just pat it on both sides, just a little bit. I use Bounty paper towels. I know that there's other brands out there people like, but once you get used to a paper towel, I would stick with it. Now I'm going to load my brush, and I only put a little bit on my brush. And then I come down and blend it in on the one side, and then I turn my brush over right into that paint, and I do this back and forth just to make sure that I got the paint in there. Now, one problem I notice a lot of students have is they have ridges. To me, the key in floating color is to keep your brush upright and let your brush do the work. Now I'm just going to set it down very gently and put it out. Very gently and bring it out. And you can work it down a little bit. That's what I call pity patting. And I'll do this again. Wet my brush, blot it, and work it into my paint. Both sides. And I'm just gently putting the brush down and let the brush do the work. You should have a clean edge on the bottom. If you have a dirty edge on the bottom of your float, it means that your water is dirty. Okay, that's what I call a soft float. It's easier to build up your colors with light applications than with heavy applications. And I'm going to show you one more time what happens when you have a heavy brush. In other words, when you really press down on it. See the ridge of color right up here? That's because you're pushing. Now this is watercolor paper, so it absorbs, but on wood you would have a regular ridge up there. So you want to use a light touch. Now the second thing I'd like to show you is base tinting. Now I don't know if you can see these or not. I use Choco paper. That's this blue paper right here, tracing paper. And it's super charcoal paper. Now this transfer paper is really nice. This is the tracing side. It is really nice, and when you use this, if there's any lines showing afterwards, a damp brush will take them right off. So that's why I like to use that. Now I'm going to load my brush the same way, back and forth. And base tinting is similar to base coating, only you're going to just float the color around the inside of the object. Now this is a leaf, so I'm just gently floating it around. Load my brush again. Okay. So then you take and you bring in the center vein. Now I'm going to take a liner brush. And when you use a liner brush, you want to make sure that your paint is very, very thin. And then I twirl it out. Wipe off any water that's on the edge of your brush. And I'm going to put some vein lines in. I'm going to switch to a darker green because I don't think you can see that too well. Now I'm going to take my liner brush again, and right on the opposite side that I put the shade, I'm just coming right up to that line just a little bit. It makes it look like it has a white little line down the center. Just gives the leaf a little more character. Now, because I use that darker color, I think I'll go back in. And you see the highlight color right there. Now this is Hauser Green Dark. And I'm going to come in the bottom and at the top. Just a little bit on the top. Now another technique or phrase I should say that you hear me say a lot is shade in the V corners. A V corner is really anywhere that you see a V. Now you don't want a whole lot of paint there, but you do want to darken it. So I went back in with a Hauser Green and just darken this a little more. There's a V here. Darken that just a little bit. Now these are V's too, and you could darken them if you wanted to, but I kind of like to leave them lighter. Now there is a V right here. See where this leaf is overlapping that? There. I hope this has helped you a little bit. It's just a real quick tutorial, and like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. Happy painting!